Hello, and welcome to the Open Ocean Trustee Implementation Group's 2025 Annual Update. My name is John Morton, and I serve as the U.S. Department of Agriculture's representative on the Open Ocean TIG. The Open Ocean Trustees are happy to share information about our progress in 2025 to restore resources injured during the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. In addition to sharing general updates on restoration progress, our presentation will include an overview of the Deepwater Horizon Restoration Program, show you a few of the ways you can access more information about all of our restoration work, share a few project highlights, provide a summary of some of our upcoming work, and end with how you can contact us. The Deepwater Horizon Restoration Program was established to restore the resources damaged in the 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill. On April 20, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig exploded, caught fire, and sank, leading to the largest offshore marine oil spill in U.S. history. The spill and associated response actions resulted in injuries to diverse species, habitats, resources, and ecological functions, causing an ecosystem-level injury to the northern Gulf of America. As a result, the Natural Resource Damage Assessment Process, abbreviated NRDA or NERDA, the trustees reached a settlement in 2016 which resolved BP's liability for natural resource injuries caused by the oil spill. Part of the settlement requires BP to pay up to $8.8 billion over 15 years to federal and state trustees for the purposes of restoring injured natural resources and the services they provide. Based on the resources and extent of the injuries caused by the spill, the $8.8 billion was allocated among the trustees' five broad restoration goals as indicated on this slide. The Deepwater Horizon trustees are committed to not only meet the restoration goals laid out by the settlement, but to provide information about all of our projects and activities through annual updates, project progress reports, and regular news stories published to our Gulf Spill Restoration website. This slide provides an overview of how you can access the various types of information provided through our website. On the home page in the Projects Near You box, you can click the View Project Details button, shown on the slide with the green arrow. Explore our interactive map to see details on restoration projects. This tool provides a map of all the projects approved by the trustees and allows you to search by restoration area and open or download project data. Once you locate a project you would like to read more about, you can select it to easily access project-specific information. Project records include project progress reports, budgets, and monitoring and adaptive management plan. You can also see videos about our work at the Gulf Spill Restoration YouTube channel. Finally, if you're not signed up for our email blast, please consider signing up. Aside from visiting the website, it's the best way to stay up to date on all of the Deepwater Horizon NERDA restoration activities. You can easily do that on our homepage by scrolling down to the green boxes and clicking the Sign Up Now button. Next, Caitlin Brucker with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency will begin the Open Ocean Trustees Annual Update.
Thank you, John. The Open Ocean Trustee Implementation Group, or TIG, is one of 7 restoration areas established to conduct restoration for the Deepwater Horizon Natural Resource Damage Assessment. 4 federal trustees comprise the TIG: the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and the Department of the Interior, DOI. The members of the TIG, shown on this slide, work together to restore wide-ranging and migratory species injured by the 2010 Deepwater Horizon oil spill. All the restoration conducted is consistent with the programmatic plan finalized by the Trustee Council in April 2016. The Open Ocean TIG also coordinates with the 5 Gulf trustee states, especially when restoration overlaps state jurisdictions. The Deepwater Horizon trustees created an implementation group for each of the 8 restoration areas outlined in the settlement and the programmatic restoration plan. One for each of the 5 Gulf states, region-wide, open ocean, and an implementation group for unknown conditions and adaptive management that may be formed in the future. The Open Ocean Trustee Implementation Group is responsible for planning and implementing restoration for the Open Ocean Restoration Area. The settlement provided the Open Ocean Restoration Area an allocation of $1.2 billion to restore birds, sturgeon, oceanic fish and invertebrates, sea turtles, marine mammals, and deep-sea coral communities, and to compensate for lost recreational use during the spill. The Open Ocean TIG has received about $759 million in settlement funds from BP. As of September 2025, the Open Ocean TIG committed over $649 million to implement a total of 68 planning, restoration, and monitoring projects. This represents about 85% of funds received. Next, Lori Rounds with NOAA will share a little more information about how the restoration dollars have been put to work.
Thank you, Caitlin. Hello, everyone. My name is Lori Rounds, and I serve as NOAA's representative to the Open Ocean TIG. The Open Ocean trustees have made great progress in putting settlement dollars to work to help restore resources injured during the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. This graphic shows how the TIG's 68 projects have advanced restoration for each of the restoration types and the amount of funding that remains for restoration. I'll highlight some of our recent progress. The approval of our 4th final restoration plan in 2025 significantly advanced our commitment of restoration funds for fish and water column invertebrates and sea turtles. Through this 4th plan, the Open Ocean TIG committed about $167 million in fish and water column invertebrates restoration funding for 6 new and continuing projects. These projects include activities to reduce fish bycatch, post-release mortality, and other stressors such as marine debris. This brings our total funding commitment to over $247 million, or more than 60% of the fish allocation. Our 4th plan also committed $22.6 million to 4 sea turtle restoration projects. These projects will work to reduce bycatch, support stranding response networks, and continue the protection of important nesting beaches. This brings our total funding commitment to over $43 million, or nearly 80% of the sea turtle allocation. The projects approved in our 4th restoration plan also included 2 new resource monitoring activities for nearly $21 million. With these new activities, our total funding commitment is more than $44 million, or about 22% of the monitoring and adaptive management allocation. This category of funding is important for monitoring restoration results, improving scientific understanding, and evaluating our progress over time. 2025 was also an important year for implementation of the 7 bird restoration projects approved in our 3rd restoration plan. These projects focus on restoring seabirds by reducing bycatch, reestablishing nesting colonies, and restoring habitat. Since 2019, the TIG has approved 9 bird restoration projects, bringing our total funding commitment to over $48 million, or nearly 70% of the bird allocation. Next, let's look at the overall status of open ocean restoration projects. The TIG has approved 40 projects to restore open ocean resources and enhance public recreational use. 6 of these projects completed their restoration work in 2025 and will be wrapping up over the coming months. 4 of these were sea turtle restoration projects that worked with partners to reduce sea turtle bycatch and develop a comprehensive plan for in-water sea turtle data collection. Final reports sharing the results of these projects are available on our website. Effective monitoring and adaptive management is also an important goal for us. The TIG is implementing 13 monitoring activities. 3 of these completed their work in 2025, and 4 more are on track to be completed in 2026. Completed work includes a Gulf-wide data inventory on the status of nesting sea turtles and 2 regional assessments of Gulf sturgeon population status and trends in habitat use. And lastly, I'd like to highlight the public engagement accomplished by our projects. Through our projects, recreational and commercial fishers have helped design and implement voluntary techniques to prevent mortality of reef fish from barotrauma and to reduce bycatch of fish, sea turtles, and seabirds. Industry groups have shared their expertise to help develop promising technologies and pilot studies to reduce the impacts of human-caused underwater noise on the Gulf's whales and dolphins. People of all ages have learned about restoring the Gulf's deep-sea coral communities from new exhibits at Gulf aquariums, hands-on events for students, and remote telepresence events to connect people on land to restoration taking place on the Gulf's seafloor. In 2025, 15 open ocean projects held public or stakeholder events, meetings, and workshops to engage people in their restoration work. They also shared their findings and results with resource managers and experts through more than 13 new reports and publications. By collaborating and sharing information broadly, open ocean restoration projects are not only achieving our project goals, but advancing restoration partnerships and raising awareness of the Gulf's important resources. Next, we'd like to share some highlights from 3 of our restoration projects. We'll start with Eric Weisberger with NOAA.
Thanks, Lori. I'm Eric Weisberger from NOAA, and I'm the Monitoring and Adaptive Management Coordinator for the Open Ocean TIG. I'd like to tell you about one of our featured projects, communications networks and mapping tools. The fishing industry identified bycatch and depredation as 2 issues affecting their catch as well as oceanic fish populations. This project aims to reduce bycatch and depredation by developing near real-time maps identifying areas where they occur. The map on this slide shows an example of interpolated depredation data, with warmer colors indicating higher levels of depredation reported by fishermen. Communications networks will then transmit this information to fishermen, allowing them to avoid these areas. The diagram on the bottom shows an example of how fishermen may report their data via satellite-linked internet, have it aggregated and mapped, and then have those maps sent back to them. During the first phase of this project, representatives from the pelagic longline, shrimp, and commercial and charter-for-hire reef fish fisheries developed recommendations for mapping tools and communications networks. A second phase of this project, approved by the Open Ocean TIG and Restoration Plan 4, will implement the recommendations from Phase 1, where they align with the restoration goals of the Deepwater Horizon program. The project will also be expanded to include fish spawning aggregations, as similar tools may allow fishermen to avoid them, resulting in more juvenile fish. I'll now hand it over to Rebecca Hazelcorn from NOAA for the next update.
Thanks, Eric. My name is Rebecca Hazelcorn, and I am a project manager in the NOAA Southeast Regional Office. Today, I have an update on a completed sea turtle project. The Open Ocean TIG completed their sea turtle restoration project, reducing sea turtle bycatch through smaller bar spacing and TEDs, in the beginning of 2025. The project completed all major milestones within the approved $2.25 million budget. Though this project got off to a challenging start in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the project team has wrapped with successful findings and successful collaboration with the shrimping industry. Industry involvement was utilized at every project stage, with the development of a stakeholder working group at the outset, which provided insight and guidance through TED testing and development from 2020 to 2024 in multiple phases. We began with 7 TED prototypes with variations of a smaller bar spacing in the grid, all 2.5-inch spacing rather than the current 4-inch traditional TED. After a rigorous evaluation process, we finalized 2 stakeholder working group approved prototypes. These 2 successful prototypes both significantly reduced small sea turtle bycatch and retained shrimp catch rates with no significant differences from a traditional TED. Throughout 2024, the project team traveled across the Gulf of America and spoke with over 80 industry individuals at various meetings to present and discuss the findings of this project. The reactions to and acceptance of the smaller bar space TEDs was positive, despite TEDs being a historically contentious topic, with 85% of meeting participants who do not already use a small bar TED being willing to make the switch based on the results shown. More information for project specifics can be found on the Gulf Spill Restoration website. The next step for the Open Ocean TIG is to work with the shrimping industry towards voluntary adoption and installation of the new TED prototypes. In June 2025, the Open Ocean TIG funded a Phase 2 TED project in their Restoration Plan 4. This upcoming project, anticipated to begin planning in early 2026, will pick up where the completed project left off by continuing the collaborations built with the industry and working with a partner to incentivize use of the new TEDs with the shrimp fishery to achieve positive restoration outcomes for sea turtles. Next is Erin with an update on common loon restoration.
Thank you, Rebecca. My name is Erin Chandler, and I represent Department of the Interior. Our third featured project, Restoration of Common Loons in Minnesota, was funded through Open Ocean Restoration Plan 1. Common loons spend their winter months in the Gulf of America and then migrate north to nest in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maine, Alaska, as well as Canada, primarily on lakes and coniferous forests. Common loons were one of the bird species injured by the Deepwater Horizon incident. This project began in 2019 and will likely be completed in 2026. This project has focused on restoring and conserving loon nesting habitat and preventing incidental bird mortality by addressing primary threats to common loons. Threats such as habitat loss, human disturbance, and exposure to toxic lead-based fishing equipment. We are using proven techniques known to minimize threats to loon survival and reproduction. Techniques such as acquisition of sensitive habitats and stewardship have aimed to reduce loon mortality and increase reproductive success of common loons at their nesting grounds in Minnesota. This project has been a great success, in part due to a highly motivated community that values the significance of loons in the forest landscape. Since the project began in 2019, over 6.5 miles of nesting habitat shoreline has been voluntarily acquired and protected. Currently, 2 additional land acquisitions are in progress and are expected to be complete in 2026. This project has enrolled lake communities in voluntary lakefront management plans to ensure vital loon habitat is maintained around neighborhood lakes. Additionally, project partners have successfully placed and monitored artificial nesting platforms for common loon nesting and loafing. These platforms provide additional sites for loons to build their nest, leading to more potential offspring during the breeding season. There is an ongoing loss of suitable loon nesting habitat in Minnesota due to shoreline development, nest predation, and nesting failure caused by fluctuating water levels. Nesting platforms are one intervention that can increase loon breeding success and may help loon populations increase over time. The project team, including a number of state and federal agencies, has participated in over 200 public outreach events and distributed thousands of sample tackle packets to the fisher people in Minnesota through the Get the Lead Out campaign. This outreach is part of a broader community effort to reduce the amount of lead potentially introduced into the common loon's nesting lakes. So what's next for the Open Ocean TIG? In addition to the projects we highlighted today, the Open Ocean TIG will continue implementing our active restoration projects and monitoring activities. The trustees will also begin implementation for 10 new and continuing projects selected in our 4th restoration plan to help restore fish and water column invertebrates and sea turtles. In 2026, we anticipate finalizing the first joint restoration plan by Open Ocean and Louisiana TIGs to restore the Chandeleur Islands. This plan leverages funds across 2 TIGs and multiple funding sources to deliver restoration benefits to multiple species. The Open Ocean TIG is also working to advance new monitoring and adaptive management activities in 2026. These new activities focus on the TIG's priorities for evaluation of restoration type and ecosystem benefits and will contribute to the overall evaluation of restoration for the case. Exciting things to come. We appreciate your time today. This recording, along with the presentation, will be available on the Trustee's website at www.gulfspillrestoration.noaa.gov. To find the Open Ocean webpage, go to gulfspillrestoration.noaa.gov and click on the Open Ocean icon, which is shown in the upper right of this slide. If you would like to contact the Open Ocean trustees, you can use the email address shown on the slide, openocean.tig@noaa.gov. Please visit the Gulf Spill Restoration website for more information on our projects. And be sure to check out all the videos on the Gulf Spill Restoration YouTube channel for updates on our restoration work. Thank you for viewing the Open Ocean TIG's annual update for 2025.